You know, more than 2,000 years ago, a philosopher handed down this incredible blueprint, not just for living, but for living a good life. And I'm not talking about some dusty old history lesson. This is a practical, hands-on guide. So let's dive into Aristotle's wisdom and see how we can craft a life that's genuinely full of meaning and purpose.
Okay, so let's start with the big one, right? The question that honestly is at the core of everything. Why are we even here? What is it that we're all chasing after? Now, for Aristotle, the answer wasn't what you might think. It's not about getting famous or rich or just having a good time. No, it was something way, way deeper than that.
He had a special word for it, eudaimonia. Now, you'll often see this translated as just happiness, but that doesn't really do it justice. It's not that feeling you get from a good meal or a funny movie. Think of it more like human flourishing. It's about living your absolute best life, hitting your full potential. That's the ultimate goal. That's the whole mission, right there.
All right, so that brings us to our mission for happiness. And the first step is to really get a handle on the final goal of everything we do. For Aristotle, to even begin this journey, you first have to understand something fundamental about the world itself. He was convinced that nothing is just random. Everything, and I mean everything, including you and me, has a purpose.
And this idea is absolutely central to his whole philosophy. It's like this. A knife's purpose is to cut, right? A tree's purpose is to grow, sink its roots, maybe bear some fruit. Well, Aristotle argued that we, as human beings, also have a specific job, a unique purpose that makes us who we are. And figuring out what that purpose is, that's the very first step on the road to eudaimonia.
So, to really wrap our heads around this whole purpose thing, Aristotle gave us some amazing tools for understanding reality. And maybe the best way to get his approach is to see how totally different he was from his own famous teacher, a guy named Plato.
You've probably seen this painting before, Raphael's School of Athens. It's incredible, and it perfectly shows the massive difference between these two thinkers. See the guy on the left, Plato? He's pointing up. And then there's Aristotle on the right, gesturing down towards the ground. That one simple difference in their hands, it speaks volumes about how they saw the world.
So what's with the pointing? Well, Plato believed that the real world wasn't this one, but a perfect abstract world of ideas somewhere up there. So to find truth, you had to kind of ignore all the messiness down here. Aristotle? He was like, no way. For him, reality is right here, in front of us. You don't get knowledge by thinking in the abstract. You get it by using your senses, by actually looking at and observing the world we live in.
Okay, so to help us understand anything, literally anything in this world, Aristotle came up with this brilliant framework he called the four causes. It's basically his way of asking why something is the way it is. Let's use a clay pot to make it super simple. First, the material cause. What's it made of? Well, clay. Easy enough. Second, the formal cause. What's its shape or design? It's a pot. Third, the efficient cause. Who or what made it? The potter, of course. And last, and this is the big one for us, the final cause. What is it for? Its purpose. To hold water.
See, for Aristotle, that last one, the final cause, or what he called the telos, is everything. It's the most important one. If you really want to understand something, whether it's a simple pot, a tree, or even yourself, you have to understand its purpose. You have to know its mission.
Okay, so we've got our mission, eudaimonia. And we know that the key is fulfilling our purpose. But how? How do you actually do that? This is where we get to the really practical stuff, the how-to part. It's all about crafting the right kind of character, the kind of persona that's actually capable of living that flourishing life.
The core idea here is a Greek word, Areté. Now, you'll see this translated as virtue all the time, but honestly, a much better word for it is excellence. Areté is all about being excellent at whatever your job is. So a knife's Areté is being sharp. A racehorse's Areté is being fast. So what's a person's Areté? It's being excellent at the art of being human. So how do we get there? How do we achieve this kind of excellence? Well, this is probably Aristotle's most famous idea. He says that virtue isn't some fixed, absolute thing. It's a balance. It's what he called the golden mean, a perfect sweet spot right between two extremes.
Let's take courage as an example, because it's a great one. On one end of the spectrum, you have the vice of having too little of it. That's cowardice. On the other end, you have the vice of having way too much. That's recklessness. Right there in the middle, that perfect balance, that's the virtue, courage. It works for other things too, like generosity. It's the sweet spot between being a total cheapskate and just throwing your money away.
Now, this is super important. The mean does not mean being mediocre.
This isn't about being bland or average, not at all. It's about excellence in your judgment. It's about finding the right way to act in the right situation at the right time for the right reason and with the right feeling. You see, hitting that target is actually really hard, which is exactly what makes it a sign of true excellence.
But here's the thing. You can't do any of this alone. This whole journey is not a solo mission. For Aristotle, trying to build a virtuous character all by yourself is basically impossible. We are, at our core, social creatures. We need each other. This is one of his all-time most famous lines. And when he says we're political animals, he isn't just talking about elections and governments. He means that our very nature is to live in a polis, a community. We're literally built to live alongside other people.
I mean, think about it. How can you possibly practice being generous if there's nobody around to be generous too? How can you be fair and just if you're all alone? It doesn't work. The community is the training ground. It's the arena where we actually get to practice and develop all these virtues. Our entire persona is shaped by how we interact with others.
So the whole point of a good community, a good city or state, is to set up the conditions that allow people to flourish. It gives us the structure, the laws and customs that we need to practice being virtuous, to reach our potential, and in the end, to achieve that eudaimonia, together.
Okay, so we've covered the goal, the tools for understanding reality, and why we need both a virtuous character and a strong community. Now, let's put all the pieces together into one clear picture of the flourishing life.
So here's the roadmap. The path to eudaimonia really has 4 big steps. Step 1, understand your purpose. Recognize that final cause in yourself and in the world. Step 2, cultivate virtue. That means actively practicing hitting that golden mean in what you do and how you feel. Step 3, use your reason. This is our unique human superpower, the ability to think and choose wisely. And finally, step 4, live socially. Fulfill your nature as a part of a community.
And Aristotle sums it all up so perfectly in his own words. A life guided by reason is the best and most pleasant one we can have. And notice, it's not about being a robot and ignoring your feelings. It's about using your wisdom to guide them. And that, he says, is what true happiness really is.
So all of this ancient philosophy comes down to a really practical modern challenge for every single one of us. This isn't just theory, it's something you do every day. So the question for you is, where in your own life, right now, today, can you find that mean? Where can you aim for that excellent balance between two extremes? Because according to Aristotle, that's where the path to a truly flourishing life begins.